Hello, and welcome to the Nerdy Folks Podcast, a conversation about the nerdy things we love and the things that matter most. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson.
And I am Katie Seipel Anderson.
We are the hosts of the Nerdy Folks Podcast. We love this community, and we're glad you're with us today. And today, Katie, we are talking about...
Aliens.
Aliens are a staple of the sci-fi genre. They've been part of pop culture for years and years, and recently they've gone mainstream.
Which is why we're not just going to have one episode on aliens.
Yeah, I mean, NASA has recently appointed a UFO czar. Congress just had a hearing on UAPs. So we're doing a series.
It deserves it.
We're doing a series, baby. So are aliens real? We're going to let you decide that. But we're going to have some fun digging into this topic. And if you want to dig deeper, I highly recommend a series put together by National Geographic. It's on Disney Plus, so it's easy to access. It's titled UFOs Investigating the Unknown: The Truth Behind the U.S. Government's Secret Pentagon Program on UAPs.
Secret. Well, it's not going to be a secret anymore.
No, it's not, but it was a program that was started, I can't remember, early 2000s or something. It's just like a spy movie. They had $22 million hidden in a budget that went to the secret program. Crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
You know, you hear people say things like, oh, you look at the government budget and they have like $200 toilet seats and all these like outrageously expensive things kind of hidden in there. I've heard that before. And I think
$200 toilet seats?
Yeah, I've heard of things like that where if you really dug into the numbers, you'd see these kind of padded numbers. And some of it, I think, is because they're doing secret programs.
Oh, boy. That's beyond the scope of what we're talking about, though.
Yes.
Let's not get into that world.
Is. So I might have had a conversation with an alien. His name's, or hers name, I'm not really sure the gender, is, the name of this alien is Chat GPT.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure is reverse engineered alien technology.
So in my head, I pictured, because of pop culture, like a little green guy or something like that, and you are going to try to tell me you had a conversation with, wow, okay. Thank you, media.
And my conversation went something like this. I typed in and asked Chat GPT to give me a summary of notable UFO sightings from the past 100 years. And so I got this nice little concise summary of these 8 different sightings.
We'll have this list and a little brief synopsis created by Chat GPT.
Created and copied and pasted by me.
So maybe created by an alien, according to Matt, we don't know. But we'll have that in our newsletter. And so if you don't have our newsletter, you're not getting our newsletter, let us know on our website.
It is a monthly newsletter, and it's lots of fun. So yeah, definitely head over to nerdyfolks.com and sign up for that. So let's go through these and talk about them. The first one comes from 1947, Kenneth Arnold sighting, or the Kenneth Arnold sighting. Apparently he was a pilot, and he reported seeing 9 shiny saucer-like objects flying in formation near Mount Rainier in Washington.
Then there's another incident in 1947. Is a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico?
Maybe that means there were originally 10 flying saucers flying in. One of them got lost and crashed.
We don't know.
The Roswell thing, I believe, is connected with Area 51. Because I think the story goes, and we'll be covering Area 51 on a later episode. But right now, without doing my research, I believe Area 51 is where they say that the wreckage from the Roswell crash was brought, and that the government has this secret reverse engineering program where they're trying to reverse engineer alien tech that was recovered from Roswell.
Or maybe from China. No, I'm kidding. All right. And then 1952, Washington, D.C. UFO incident. There's multiple UFO sightings occurred over Washington, D.C.
And radar operators reported seeing blips and other mysterious things. In 1961, the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Oh, wait, hold on. That just is so creepy. It deserves a creepy sound. Betty and Barney Hill claimed to have been abducted by terrestrial beings in September of 1961. The crazy thing about this is it's not just a single person, it's two people. Interesting.
Travis Walton, 1975.
Another abduction.
And then a forest incident in 1980. How do you pronounce that? Rendlesham?
Yes, that sounds perfect.
This one was U.S. military personnel stationed in England.
Now we're getting into the 90s. The Phoenix Lights in March 1997. Thousands of people in Arizona reported seeing a massive triangular formation of lights in the night sky. The military said it was flares initially, but many witnesses disagree. And finally, we've got one from 2004. USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group encountered unidentified aerial objects off the coast of California. Fighter pilots reported seeing a tic-tac shaped craft exhibiting advanced maneuvers. This one...
Tic-tac shaped?
Yeah.
What makes them think of a tic-tac and not just like...
I think also because it was white. This incident was covered in the National Geographic show, and they had an interview with this pilot. I think one of the most fascinating things about some of these sightings is the fact that many witnesses claim to have seen the same thing.
And the other interesting thing about it is we don't actually know what it is. It could be something that we're just not familiar with in the atmosphere or something. It could be aliens. We just don't know.
It could be secret government tech that really is advanced, but they're just going to deny, and not disclose anything.
And fund by $200 toilet seats. That could be it, and keep all of us wondering. Or it could be something bigger. We just don't know. Actually, this stuff reminds me of the Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode that I saw recently. It's an older episode. I don't know when it actually aired. Or is it a newer one?
It's in the newest season, so it's been released for a number of months, I think, but it's not super old.
And in this, the two main characters were somehow pulled into the past and like a different timeline as well. And they had to try to like fix something to fix the timeline because the timeline was broken somehow.
Yeah, because in the Star Trek world, in the future, they have like a timeline division that fixes time incursions. So they were pulled upon by a member of that group to help fix a timeline incursion.
Anyway, the two main characters come in contact with this girl who is like totally into aliens, and she's showing them all this stuff. And then she kind of has this moment where she's like, oh, I just appreciate that you guys were listening to me. And you have this like heartfelt like, oh, she's so like lonely and sad and not believed. And then she ends up being the villain.
She ends up being
a real alien.
She ends up being a Romulan.
The idea, the heartstring pull was that she was like lonely. And I think with this whole like alien thing, it's getting like brought up again. And some people are really into it, but sometimes it can be a lonely road. I think of all these people who have claimed sightings, and it's like, man, I wonder how hard it's been for them. Whether we find out that it's an alien thing or we find out it's something totally else, that'd be kind of a hard road to follow. Probably a pretty lonely road. You might have some people come around you and really support you, but
you'd probably be teased, mocked. And I think a lot of people just feel kind of alien in their world and their environment. It's a thing right now. In fact, the U.S. Surgeon General released a report on loneliness. And we were thinking about just the double meaning of the word alien. You know, alien can mean someone from space, but it can also just mean you just feel alien. You don't feel like you belong or you fit in. Check this quote out. This is from Dr. Vivek H. Murphy, the U.S. Surgeon General. Loneliness is far more than just a bad feeling. It harms both individual and societal health. It is associated with a greater risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, stroke, depression, anxiety, and premature death. The mortality impact of being socially disconnected is similar to that caused by, get this, smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day, and even greater than that associated with obesity and physical inactivity.
Loneliness is kind of a big deal. And I think it's been a problem for a while. And I think the pandemic really made it a lot worse.
It exacerbated it, definitely.
But I think all of us go through seasons of loneliness or go through times where we just don't feel like we fit in right, or we feel like we're just not clicking into life correctly, and you just feel lonely. Maybe you feel like no one cares. No one's reaching out to you, or no one cares about what's going on in your life.
So, Katie, I have a question for you. You are more extroverted than I am, and you're very good at connecting with people. What advice would you give someone who's just struggling and feeling lonely and feeling like they're having a hard time connecting? Like, how can they reach out and connect with others better?
Even as an extrovert, I still will feel lonely sometimes, because sometimes as extroverts, you realize you're doing the only reaching out and no one reaches out back. And that can have a lonely feeling too, when you feel like the only one that's trying to connect with people. So those extroverted people out there who also sometimes feel lonely, I feel you too. I would say, if you are feeling lonely, taking that phone call, that text message, and trying to reach out to someone, everyone is busy. It's not an excuse, but oftentimes people don't know or realize that you are feeling lonely unless you tell someone. So even just opening up to someone, God places people in our lives to help us and to be there for us. And sometimes we have to kind of take the hard road and actually reach out and say, hey, want to get together? I'm feeling kind of lonely.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm definitely more of an introvert, but introverts need people too. And sometimes we can use that as an excuse, like, oh, I don't like people, I don't like social situations. But honestly, it does me a lot of good to get out among people, even though I do need that time alone to recharge. And I think for me, just taking the initiative and taking responsibility, even if it's just sending some text to people to say hi. And I would also say, don't let a couple rejections get you down. You reach out to a couple people, they blow you off or whatever, and then you can feel completely deflated, but don't let it. And I know church is a sore subject for a lot of people, but I think church can be a very positive place to build connections. And I would encourage people to check that out.
And it's true that God is also there. So if you're getting those rejections and that right person hasn't come along to help you if you're feeling lonely, or you're just starting to build some friendships and they're not quite to the place of feeling like that deep friendship that you might be looking for, God is there. And in Psalms 34:18, it says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit.
Well, we would love to connect with you in a more personal way. A simple way to do that would be to go to nerdyfolks.com. At the bottom of the page, there's an email form you can fill out. We love to hear from you. If you would like us to simply keep you in our prayers, we would love to just hear about what's going on in your life. And you can connect with us that way.
Coming up, we're going to have more episodes on aliens,
including things like, are aliens among us? Are aliens working for the U.S. government like they worked for Nick Fury in the show Secret Invasion? Did aliens actually crash land in the desert? Just so many questions. So many questions that we want to dive into in the coming episodes. So stay tuned for those. We're also very excited to make a few comments about the Ahsoka series, which just wrapped up. So many fun things coming up.
And if you have any thoughts that you'd like to share with us about aliens or about anything else, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And if we're the only people that you reach out to and you're feeling lonely, you can just call that a big win.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much for listening. Love you. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.